Alright, welcome back to Channel Top Gaming. This is Aaron, and we're going to get into some ranked draft on Throne of Eldraine. This has been a deep, rich, succulent set. A lot of different tasty decks that you can build up. There's aggro, there's mid-range, there's control. See, off the bat, this is the first time I've seen this card, except for probably in previews. It seems alright. I haven't played any blue-white artifact enchantment, things like Dance of the Manse, if you happen to get that. Really haven't seen much of that in Limited at all. Doesn't mean it wouldn't be viable, but I don't know if it's first pickable. Overwhelmed Apprentice is a pretty good staple. Blue, and especially blue-black, is excellent control mill deck, and that's an option. It ran fairly rampant when Best of 3 was out for the last 2 weeks, and then with the balancing of the bots right before this came out with a hot fix yesterday, there should be less obvious avenues and less late picks of cards that you know that can come around for you to be able to abuse, always slotting into black-blue, which is nice because you always want diversity in any format. Kinrith's Transformation is, I still haven't used it. It's been used against me to a decent effect. Giving your opponent a 3/3 is no mean feat. It's no small thing. But being able to shut down a flyer that you have no other way to go about getting, or just a creature with crazy abilities in the draw 2 deck, possibly like the looting cards. If you absolutely need to shut down some sort of special effect or indestructibility, or just bring a much larger creature down to size, this does the job. It doesn't have flash, which would make it a little better, but it does replace itself when it draws a card. So overall it's decent, definitely not first pickable, but within consideration. The Mardu colors, white, black, and red, different versions of that, or all three if you want to get really ambitious and pick up some of the mana-fixing land tournament grounds, can be quite effective. The night deck being the aggro deck, if you find yourself slotted into that. Aggro is a little harder to pull off since there are so many good strategies and life tokens floating around that make it pretty hard to finish off, and if you lose steam against a deck that has excellent mid or late range, then you can definitely find yourself just AOL. Outflank looks better than it actually is. The fact that your opponents can mess with how many attacking or blocking creatures you have can really turn what you hope to be a blowout or a reversal. True Love's Kiss, unfortunately, since Best of 1, coming from Best of 3, which I think is great. Honestly, they should still have both formats, but Best of 3 is an excellent way to understand depth of decks and cards, and this out of a sideboard, of course, against the right deck, is phenomenal. Whether or not you can play it main deck in a white deck, a little more controversial. When it hits, usually something like, say, a Revenge of Ravens, or, say, a large artifact creature, and it replaces itself at instant speed, and it's phenomenal. Many other times it's just dead, like so many other cards with this effect. Dead weight, and will just rot in your hand. So, a little harder to judge in a best of 1, and especially since white may possibly be the weakest color, potentially, even though there's plenty of good cards. I haven't gotten around to be able to use it effectively, and we'll see if it turns out in best of 1. The Secret Keeper is a very unassuming looking card, which is pretty key if you're going to go and try the blue mill route or blue-black. Pretty much being able to put 4 cards in on an adventure, which has its own synergies. Things like, say, if you have a Lucky Clover, just makes this absolutely bonkers. If you have a Lucky Clover and be able to play this, milling 8 cards is a fifth of your opponent's starting deck, not to mention the cards they've already drawn and everything else, so you're already probably halfway to milling them out of the game. And then the 0/4 body is very relevant for blocking all sorts of things in the early game, usually allowing your black and blue cards for removal to come into play in online. Barrow Witches is great. You can play it in the Knight's deck as a top-end finisher. You can play it in a black deck with several other different Knight options, give you really good recursive value. It's basically just a little bit of a bigger and more difficult to cast, but still a lot of upside Pretty much it's like a grave digger with a little bit bigger body and a little more expensive to cast. Locked-wing paladins, swordmaster, fine. I will say swordmaster, if you have a critical mass of them and a lot of good recursion, as well as a Sir Conrad, can be a way to have a win condition with a lot of reach in a deck that seems like it shouldn't have. Even though you're only usually doing this for 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most on the to curry favor for the life drain effect. If you have, again, Lucky Clovers to double it up, or if you're using these as blockers to trade off, or even buy you some time while gaining you a little life, and you can recur them back out of the graveyard, they can have an effect all on their own. And I just wanted to mention that as a particular, outside of just the Knight deck, this does have a lot of functionality. And Mystic Sanctuary might be my favorite, probably is my favorite, of this cycle of lands, where if you have 3 of the basic type for this, say, in particular island, it comes into play untapped, then you get to put an instant or sorcery back on top of your library. And limited, that can be great. You're recurring your best kill or removal spell, maybe counter if you need it, or a bounce. Pretty much you just grab your best card out of your graveyard. Pretty nice. That said, I'm not crazy about Mirror Maid. Really, it would almost be between these 3. Where Steel Claw is only effective if then we see other knights, and we've already gone into a Rakdos gold card, so it's kind of out of the question. And so it's between a Kindred's Transformation or an Overwhelmed Apprentice, with really Secret Keeper almost being in the conversation too, except for it's pick one, pack one, so it's ridiculous. Or even Bear Witches. So I'll say out of these, if we go with our Overwhelmed Apprentice, we are already setting ourselves towards a very specific deck type, which we may not see the other pieces to bring together, and this isn't something to build around on its own. The Transformation is a general all-purpose good card, but it does need other, it can't be a main removal source. It is simply a more niche card that if you need to use as removal, you can, usually not to wholly satisfactory results. And the Barrow Witches might actually be or should be a higher consideration for us, except for we are still slotting into a fairly specific set where this may have some intrinsic value, but to be able to have to waste that on a pick one, pack one seems pretty nasty. So overall, not the best. We're going to go with the Transformation. Not that we're that excited about it. Well, then the joke's on us. We get past a Dance of the Manse. And we could have used the rare card that we just passed out, Mirror Maid. Though, to be honest, it's so one-sided that we can't be blamed for not picking it. But now that we have a Dance of the Manse under consideration, so this hits all artifacts and non-aura enchantment cards. So it wouldn't hit things, say, if this the creature that hit this was killed, or this slipped off or was destroyed in some way. Even if it was in our graveyard, it wouldn't come back with our superpowered Dance of the Manse. If we do pick this up, we're prioritizing the heck out of things like golden eggs, all sorts of smaller artifact creatures that we don't mind trading off, that we can bring back later in the game. If you do get to the X's 6 or more portion of the show with this card, then usually it's going to be, if you've built your deck correctly, it's going to be a game ender. I don't know. Let's look at the rest of the pack and see if it's worth committing to this early. Turn into a Pumpkin's great. Definitely goes in a more control and grindy type deck. It does 3 things though, especially if you can cast it with Adamant. It does 3 things. It's instant speed, bounce, so you can blow out your opponent, hopefully, in a combat situation, or even causing them to waste a whole turn casting something they'll have to recast. You get to replace that card immediately. Again, instant speeds, it draws a card. Then if you are able to cast it for Adamant, then you're creating a food token. So overall, a very functional card. Not really a first, second pick. More, if you already know you're leaning towards that color, it can be an influencer. Slaying Fire is, for red at least, their best removal. If you can get it out for Adamant, you do up to 4 damage, which is pretty relevant in this format. There's a lot of things that need to die for 4. Circon Red coming to mind most immediately. But also, this is some of the only reach that you're able to get. So in this particular set, being able to put the last 3 or 4 damage on the opponent's face if you're in that aggro deck is key. And it's kind of hard to remember since there's not too many other things that have that reach. I've definitely allowed myself to get 1 point too low, thinking 4 life was going to be safe for a turn, just to be finished off. Flutter Fox is good. If we go the route of, say, Dance the Manse, it comes back around to us, we'd be looking for Flutter Foxes to give ourselves a little extra reach through the air. When I say reach, I mean being able to do damage to finish off the game, not the actual keyword reach, which blocks flyers. Prize Griffin is again down that road. Trebuchet is worth mentioning. If you're in the Knight's deck, do not sleep on it. The actual keyword reach that's on here helps take care of all the troublesome little fairies and 2/2 flyers that can nip away at you and dink you down. As well as you just get that extra 1 inevitability damage at least per turn. Red Cap goes in that deck too. And then Fierce Witchstalker, Run Away Together, good commons. So, since our Kinro's transformation, there's nothing that really synergizes or points us in that direction. What is the best card that we would pick over blank? And I think it has to be Dance to the Manse. It is very powerful. We're going to be prioritizing a lot of artifacts and enchantments. Slaying Fire is close right behind it. But I don't think it, since this is just an excellent utility spell, great, this can actually win us games. And even if we aren't able to cast it all the way for X is 6 or more, being able to return that many artifacts and enchantments to the battlefield usually will put us pretty far ahead. Right? We are getting a little bit of love in this color. The only quote-unquote misstep would be if we had Perfect Knowledge, we would have taken Mirror Maid as our first pick over the Kinro's transformation, but there's still a possibility that we play Bant versus just 2-color. Archon, as you see it, the protection from white doesn't come up too much. The only white removal I can think off the top of my head doesn't actually hit flyers anyway. Oh, here it is, trapped in the tower. Sort of the pacifism downside. But it does make it harder for your opponents to come in and attack you. It gets through in the air, and it can block white creatures if that becomes relevant, or just get past them in combat. Venerable Knight does fine in the white deck that we talked about. Grumgully, I haven't been able to build a deck around this. I haven't got it early enough or even late enough while I had enough non-humans. But in a red-green deck, or anything you're able to get with that, splashing's very hard in this format. There's only a few things, 1 or 2 green cards, the spinning wheel that can actually fix your mana, so generally you're staying either mono or at most 2 colors. With Adamant, of course, being the payoff for those mono colors or devotion, leading up to the actual devotion mechanic in the Thera set, which is set to come out, I believe, next, actually, so next spring. Trapped in the Tower actually is a consideration, though I don't know if it actually pushes out the 3/2 protection from white flyer. It's some of the only absolute removal. All the removal we're going to have is generally going to be aura based if we stay in just strict blue-white. Green has out muscle and a few other things, but as you can see, black got the lion's share, as it usually does, of excellent removal. I don't think we want to step out of our lane just to pick up a Reef Soul, especially with a few other viable picks. So between Trapped in the Tower and Archon, we'll go ahead and take our more powerful creature. Flying is a big enough deal that if the opponent doesn't have any way to answer, and you can, oh, there we go, stall it out, you can actually win in the air pretty easily. Well, this is a payoff for the deck that we're trying to build. Should usually be able to affect at least one, if not both of those requirements, and end up with a 3/3 Flying Vigilance. For 3, that's pretty good. The cycle of hybrid mana, if you are in the color pair, of course makes it very easy. If you only have one or the other but are still in a dual or tricolor deck, it makes it very difficult to cast. But these do also slide in very nicely, of course, to any monocolored deck you might have. For our situation, I see us being probably more white-blue than white-green. And even though this is a pretty nice card, I think it would be probably too hard to cast most of the time and doesn't do enough for us when we do get it down, because we're rarely going to be able to get this down in turn 4. Silver Flame Ritual can be alright. In best of 3, it was okay out of the sideboard. For here and now, it's a little harder. You don't get as much of the Adamant as you would like unless you're actually already in a Go White deck, and there just really isn't a great Go White deck that we've found just yet in this format. Trapped in Tower and Golden Egg are the only things that are giving Shine Chaser a run for its money. I'm still leaning towards Shine Chaser though, because as you can see, we've already seen quite a few Trapped in Tower and Golden Eggs, and as I think they're still a little underdrafted by the bots, we'll probably be able to pick up quite a few of them, especially at Common. And other than that, so tiny. Is consideration, we'll probably play some in our deck as we come around. It's pseudo control. It can blunt the attack of a large creature, though a lot of times it can also be gotten around through different various methods. But let's keep building the deck that apparently we're supposed to be building. Let's see. This is interesting. So Apprentice really isn't that much good out of anything besides the mill deck. Sure, you can play it on 1, you get to fix the top of your deck, so if you're a little sketchy on whether or not you're going to have mana or you have too much mana, that can help you out there. But it doesn't block anything at advantage, and is generally just a chumper after that. True Love's Kiss we mentioned in passing. It's hard to mainboard. We probably end up with one in there if we don't have enough playables, because when it is good, it is excellent, but often it will just languish in your deck. And what I'm kind of looking at is a weapon rack. It is... let's see. Actually, I thought it disappeared after you moved all the counters off of it onto your creatures, so it becomes a little less interesting. The only way we dance at the Manse back is if we're milled, and it's part of our dancing as we mancing on back out of the graveyard. Other than that, it's still a consideration because it does turn on things like the Shine Chaser. We likely are going to have a decent amount of flyers, and being able to pump those up and either trade better, block better, or just finish off the opponent more quickly is a decent enough effect. I'd say between these, Venerable Knight isn't bad. It's a decent Savannah Lion. I don't know if we get any upside. Probably some white knights. Haha, I see what you did there. Might possibly find their way into our deck, but it's a little sketch, so do we want to take that over, say, a True Love's Kiss or this weapon rack? I feel like we probably don't play more than one weapon rack, and we're likely to see that late. True Love's Kiss also comes around fairly often. We probably wouldn't play more than one of. So I guess just out of rarity and efficiency of mana, we'll go ahead and take the Venerable Knight. Not too sure if that's the right pick or not, though. Okay. Fairy Guide Mother is fine. It's a good way to get in a little extra damage. Being able to pick up a large, clumsy, say, like, artifact creature, or if we've animated something with Animating Fairy or Dance of the Manse, and being able to finish them off through the air is pretty good. Plus, it's just a 1/1 flyer, if nothing else. And other than that, if it wasn't here, we would take our True Love's Kiss already. So it feels like All That Glitters is supposed to be in our deck, but since we actually haven't picked up a whole lot of payoffs just yet, and auras are still the classic blunder, because you can get blown out 2-for-1 style pretty easily, as the opponent just kills whatever creature you're about to put the enchantment on. I don't see there's a ton of upside. Now, say we have 2, maybe even 3 artifacts enchantments combined out. That's not too bad, but that's already a pretty big if. And then with the drawback already, I'm shying away. I won't say that we'll play none of these, but with Runaway Together and Tome Raider available for us, we definitely want to look elsewhere. So Runaway Together is one of the better cards you can play if you're in blue as far as bounce goes. There is the Pumpkin, which also is instant speed, but this is a little cheaper, and you can often returning one of your creatures to your hand as a benefit, either during combat, being able to confuse and, say, pull one of your creatures out that's blocking but's going to lose that fight, and being able to save them and recast them, especially if they have upside like Tomb Raiders, and still returning one of their creatures, or just to negate, say, a removal spell against a creature you want to keep, but then also you can just flip one of their creatures back in. It's pretty versatile. You do need, of course, a creature on either side. Sometimes it's not always perfect, but it is a pretty powerful card. The only thing giving it a run for its money is a Tomb Raider. Tomb Raiders are just excellent ways to keep the cards flowing into your hand as well as adding to the board. Worst case, they can be a chump. They can be fed to Witches' Ovens. They can just add up to 5 or 6 damage over the course of a longer game through the air. They are pretty darn good. And I think, given that we got a decent flying... Still looking for, of course, artifacts and enchantments for our payoffs. But to do that, we're going to need cards, and we're going to need flying bodies. So we'll definitely play a runaway together if it comes around, but we'll take our Tomb Raider for now. Now we get another chance at an All That Glitters. I can see us maybe playing a Princess. It does peter out in value, though, after turn, say, 3 or 4. What I think's nice, but it's nothing special. We haven't had any adventure payoffs just yet, but it would be something to look towards. Silverflame Squire, nothing special again, but it can have some payoff upside. I'm really more interested maybe in this Locthwing Gargoyle. Since it is a creature, there is always threat of activation, but if nothing else, it can chump off. And as long as it's on the battlefield, it's fun to pick up our Shine Chaser, or it's just fodder for the Dance of the Manse for later. It is tempting to pick up the one, but now that we've seen so many, a few this time around, as long as there's at least one in the next pack or two, and we end up at that spot, we'll take it at that point. Okay. Well, Merfolk, Mystic Sanctuary, or True Love's Kiss are all in consideration. Secret Keeper might be the best card just overall from what we have left here. But if we have no other further synergies, even though games can go long, milling really isn't a viable strategy unless you're planning for it. But we're still not going to play more than one True Love's Kiss if we do mainboard it. So really it's between Secret Keeper and Mystic Sanctuary. And given that at best our instants and sorceries are going to be like bounce spells, or, at best, True Love's Kiss. This doesn't have quite the highest value as it does, say, in a Black-Blue, where you're getting back, for sure, counters and most likely things like Reeve's Soul or different exile or black removal spells. Go ahead and take our Secret Keeper. Alright, there's a little white flying payoff for us. Go ahead and move the transformation to the sideboard. Oh, nice. And a runaway together. Though we'll play Dummy. The trades, again, fuels up our dance for later. Runaway together is definitely a much better card. Let's see, I haven't played the white one yet. I had to double check. So we get a counter. It's not too bad. Do we want it over a Silver Flame Ritual? We for sure would be playing this if we do pick it up. Not sure if we play the Ritual if we do. And possibly if we have enough flyers in the air and this feels like it's going to be strong enough, we don't have to care as much about the vigilance. Being able to put a 1/1 counter on a bunch of smaller flyers is something that we could be interested in. Alright, maybe. Well, I still don't want to play an apprentice in a non-mill focused deck, so here's where we pick up our True Love's Kiss. Okay. Best card by far in this pack, at least for limited, is Sir Conrad. if we even had inklings toward this, there's so many synergies that you can set up. Forever Young puts a bunch of creatures on top of your graveyard, or excuse me, from the graveyard on top of your library, and then you can use all of your mana then to mill them, and then put those creatures back into your graveyard again, doing 1 damage as they come out, and then go back in. Pretty much anything dies, moves around from the graveyard, or anything Sir Conrad's taxing that for 1 damage per, and that adds up pretty quick. On top of that, it's a 5/4 body. This all around does quite a bit of heavy lifting. Fairy Vandal is probably what we're going to pick up, and hopefully we can start seeing some golden eggs. We won't be as set up to abuse this as, say, in the red-blue draw 2 deck, where you're definitely just prioritizing all sorts of anything that can get you an extra card on a turn along with the payoffs. So this may not grow quite as much, but as long as we put 1-2 counters on this, we're happy. As well as Flash. It's always nice to be able to flash that out. Usually you're not blocking with it. Maybe you're getting a gingerbread brute every once in a while, but mostly just being able to flash it at the end of their turn protects it a bit from removal, and allows you generally at least one attack with it if that's what you're going for. Torbrand, you really need to be, I can see it possibly in the draw 2 deck, the red-blue. I've seen good red-green decks. I haven't built one myself yet, or drafted one rather. But anything that does any sort of red source damage, this is just going to add 2 right on top, as well as it blocks very well. The 3 red-specific mana cost is a bit of a drawback, but you know, if you're in that neighborhood, Torbrand's your boy. We've already talked about Sling Fire and most of the rest of these, so take our Fairy Vandal. Okay, looks like we're definitely shaping up to be a pretty good Flyers deck. Our trouble is going to be dealing with larger and uglier creatures, as well as we really haven't picked up much in the way of synergizing or Dance with the Manse. We haven't seen like any golden eggs, except for the one that we passed up to pick the Shine Chaser. We'll still take more Left-Wing Gargoyles as well. And we would love to see things like Glass Casket, even the Aura Artifact Enchantment, Aura Enchantment removal in blue and white we would take too, just because we do need some of that removal. For us, for now, for here, Moonlit Scavengers, we are almost for sure going to be able to pick at least one up, and we wouldn't want to play more than one, since we are in a deck that hopefully is going to be able to take advantage of always having an artifact or enchantment out. We're almost assuredly, we'll say 80% chance, depending on what we see in the rest of the packs, but of being able to bounce something on the other side of the field. Not really consideration here, because again, we only want one. I bet we see one much later, aside from the deck that we're building now, which we really don't see that much. Unless somebody picks up a Dance from Manse. We should be able to pick one up. Weapon Rack, again, it's an artifact, it pumps up our flyers, it's pretty good, it's under consideration. And it's between that and the Prized Griffin. Since we saw the other one come around so late, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to pick this one up on the wheel. That might even be the same for Weapon Rack. Silverflame Squire doesn't do as much. We can use it as a trick to untap a tapped flying attacker, and hopefully usually pick up, and if worst case have to trade off with the creature. So it does have a little value in that sense. It can be our 2-drop if we don't have anything else, but we're also not being able to maximize anything, no synergies off it really. So I say we look for the Prized Griffin to wheel again. It's a 3/4 flyer. It blocks and attacks well for us. We already have one. It's a little more top end heavy, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be it for us. So we'll take Weapon Rack now. There's Revenge of Ravens, the card everyone's been raving about. Get it? Okay, I'll show myself out. But essentially this blanks anything, especially say a deck like ours, where we're trying to get through with a bunch of tiny damage in the air. Possibly we can pump them up a bit, but this makes it so that damage is, for anything at 2 power, you're sharing the damage. Essentially, taking 1 from yourself, and then doing 1 to the opponent. If you just have 1/1s or 1 anythings, then there's zero reason to attack whatsoever. It really does a good job of completely negating an aggro style deck. For us here, since we're really trying to prioritize some artifacts, the Ginger Brute can be pretty good, especially if we get it enchanted with something that'll pump it up or get some equipment on it. It does cost a tiny, cost 1 mana to make it unblockable, but there aren't many other things with haste anyway, so it's generally going to be completely unblockable. And it is food, and it is an artifact, which does play into our other synergies that we need out. So it's likely what we're going to take here, even though it is overall a pretty lackluster card. Jousting Dummy is kind of right behind it, pretty much for the same reasons. We're going to use it to block and hopefully trade cards with, and then bring it back with the Dance of the Dance in the late game. We may end up with a Prophet in our deck, though I hope not. And that's about it. Still, Gaze Griffin goes in the draw 2. In a pinch, it can go in a blue deck that doesn't have that synergy, but it's going to be pretty overpriced for what you get. Mantle of Tides also, even though it is an artifact, and possibly if one finds our way in, we don't draw enough. And even when you are in the draw 2 deck, this isn't a very good card. Only other consideration would be Fairy Godmother, really, but since we're so starved and we do have a couple payoffs and synergies we want to feed, we're going to go ahead with the artifact creature. Okay, Lucky Clover. We only have 1 adventure so far. And that's about it. Well, unfortunately we don't have a lot of synergies with Lucky Clover. Given what else we have in this pack, though, we may pick it up just for upside. It'll give us more reason if we do see some other adventures to pick up. Not a whole lot that jump off the top of my head as far as big payoffs. There's, of course, some pumps. Mill to a certain extent, even though we're not in that area. It's moreover that it's an artifact, and possibly can fuel that for us later in the game. The only thing else that I'm looking at for our deck anyway is Mystical's Dispute. It's a fine mana leak here. Pretty often. Blue is very popular in this set, so you're very often going to be able to cast it at a discount. But games also do go so long that anything beyond the mid-game, this is probably not going to do enough for you, and they're going to have the extra mana to pay. So just based on power level alone, we'll go ahead and take Lucky Clover. Though, to be honest, this was just a very weak pack for us anyway. Alright, I like Clockwork Servant. Even if we aren't able to cast it at adamant cost sometimes, it is an artifact creature. It'll come back for us later. It's a decent blocker. Even without the adamant, draw and replace itself. 2/3 for 3 isn't the worst. It does fight a little with Flutterfox, which would be nice, except for I think we still need more artifacts and enchantments versus payoffs for that. Right now, the Venerable Knight might go. Even the Secret Keeper, possibly. These aren't totally synergistic with our plan. We're still pretty thin. It's amazing we haven't seen any golden eggs. The hot fix patch for the bots must have really upped that, because before that fix a day or two ago, you could pick up as many golden eggs as you wanted, which is a decent, viable in some decks. Mostly things like ours that have Dance of the Manse can be a broken thing, but now we're barely seeing any, so it's I think a little bit of overkill the other way. I totally wouldn't mind a Flutterfox, but we're going to pick up the Servant, try to... Okay, that's an interesting noise. Try and figure out what to do with that. That's a really late draw in the lock. Black-Blue, probably still my favorite, more powerful deck in this set. For us, I think we're Flutterfoxing. Outmuscle, along with drawing the lock, or 2 premium cards, it should probably not be going this late. Flutterfox, though, does give us a pretty consistent attacker. We're getting to the point where I think we'll probably have enough artifacts and enchantments out to usually have that on. Don't really want to take another Ginger Brute now, though we may end up with more than we want to. in our deck. So yeah, it's a Flutterfox for us. Flex Intruder would be nice if splashing was an easier thing, or if I knew for sure we were going to be able to veer into a Bant or even more green heavy deck, then Flex Intruder would be more appealing. Things like, say, Lucky Clover. The first part, being able to create 3 2/2 Bird tokens, is okay. The mana cost is pretty ridiculous, but if you can double it up, and if you're getting that late in the game anyway, it's usually just a game winner. The Flex Intruder herself is fine. Sometimes, every once in a while you can actually get the ability to do something for you. Other than that, just an early creature. We should probably be looking at the outflanks more, just because we don't have any removal yet, which is unfortunate. After those 2 trapped in the towers, we haven't gotten anything else. And we haven't seen a single blue enchantment creature removal. We definitely have plenty of wiggle room. We have the first part of our deck okay. We have some flyers, just nothing that seems super powerful, and not even enough to really have Dance of the Manse care. But we'll keep an eye out for Outflank, but I think Flutterfox is still our pick here. Alright, well, there's our Charmed Sleep that I was looking for, but unfortunately it also comes with a golden egg. I think we need to take egg here. I was thinking we were going to be able to pick up more by now, but this is the only one we've seen besides the 3-way pick that we had earlier on in the draft. It does everything we want. We're able to sacrifice it at will to get it in the graveyard if we need to for Dance. It can fix if we need something for Adamant. It can just be 3 life, and it replaces itself when it comes in. So it's pretty good in a lot of decks, but it's really good in a deck like ours. It's really too bad that we're passing up a Charmed Sleep just to pick it. We would actually play a good many of these cards, but I just think for our win condition, because we do need to win these games, I think Golden Egg is just going to help us out a lot more. Okay. Even though Secret Keeper I think is probably a better card, Gingerbrute goes more in our deck and what we're doing. We've talked about everything else. I did talk about Festive Funeral though. If you can't find any baked into pies and you're short on Reed Souls, if you need some removal in black, this can be very good. If you are able to get the mill plan going, or at least enough cards in your opponent's graveyard, or excuse me, in your own graveyard, then this can be good. But sometimes it's just not good enough, and especially at 5 mana, it can be very unwieldy to be able to hold up. So it's not your first go-to, but it's not as bad as it looks at first glance. If you really need to, you can use Festive Funerals as your black removal. But for us, just a Gingerbrute. Alright, Fairy Godmother is appealing and interesting because we want to be able to, again, finish out the game in the air. But I think we need to take this so tiny. It's an enchantment. It can do things like turn on our Shine Chaser at instant speed. If we do see a glitters at gold again, all that glitters is gold, then it can mess with those stats as well at instant speed, and then just pretty much screw up combat, which I think we're going to need a decent amount of, given our fairly weak synergies so far. It doesn't have synergy with Dance of the Manse, but so be it. Alright, we wield our prized Griffin. We also wield a Silver Flame Squire, which possibly should be in the talk. We only have 1 Lucky Clover, so being able to double it isn't going to be nearly as exciting, or rather as intriguing a synergy that we can rely on. Whereas prized Griffin is just a big flyer that can finish out in the air if need be within a couple turns. Given that we have a few cards we're not even sure we're going to play it for, and everything else is fairly small, we're going to go ahead and pick up the second large flyer. Alright, there's a Jousting Dance. Welcome. Ooh, even wield the Mystic Dispute, not too bad. These cards don't matter, and let's hope we pick up a nice pick for our path through. Well, Return of the Wild Speaker is good. If we had more eggs, I would feel, oh my gosh, we would have had 2 Sir Conrads. We were somehow in black, opening up 2 Sir Conrads. These are almost a mythic uncommon. Would have been pretty sick, but such is the way. Such is the way our draft went. Epic Downfall is also an excellent. It sort of hits the top end and it exiles, which is pretty relevant in this format. Definitely take that pretty highly. Return of the Wild Speaker. It might be worth trying to splash this. Even picking it up on the contingency that we need at least 1 more golden egg to do so. Even then, maybe, maybe not. Really, a spinning wheel and a golden egg or 2 more would make me much more comfortable. But the payoff is pretty large, since we have generally some smaller flyers that we're going to be using. And we're dinking in damage, being able to pump even 2 flyers for a total of 6 extra damage in the air to finish off a game is pretty relevant. It can also draw cards for us, though generally that's not going to be too many, all things considered. But even in that mode, it's decent enough. What would we be passing up in white and blue, though? There's an outflank, which I think at this point we probably do need to pick up 1 at least of. Quarter Monitor is an artifact. This is probably one of the, again, in a creature, so if it does go into the graveyard as a chump block and come back with Dance of the Manse later in the game. And as far as our deck goes, that's about it. I don't think Ox is worth it. We don't care as much about food, even though it is an artifact, and that's nice. So between possibly splashing Return of the Wild Speaker and an Outflank or a Corridor Monitor, it just feels too bad to pick one of these as our pick 1. We should be able to pick up replacements or versions or even just copies of these later. And even though there's a good chance we don't play Return of the Wild Speaker, if we can splash it somehow, which again, this is not a very splash-friendly format, then it can probably end up winning us a couple games. Oof, these are some tough packs for us. Alright, we did get a Trapped in the Tower, which is nice, and would be our pick. Runners-up, though, would be Queen of Ice, rather. Even without a Lucky Clover, it can be some decent tempo for us. Even if it ends up just tapping down something once and then ending up being a chump blocker, that's taken 3 combat swings away from our opponent. It takes out the one that it tapped down as a sorcery, takes out the one that it blocked, and then it takes out the one that it tapped it down again for its next untap phase. So overall, even if it just plays as a pure tap down over 2 turns, block a creature once for 5 mana, it's pretty decent. I already talked about Run Away Together, and there's nothing else really. Merchant of the Veil, if you're in that Draw 2 deck that I've mentioned, red-blue, this is a pretty good engine for that deck. Anything that allows you to draw a card, even if you have to discard something like that, usually triggers enough synergies to definitely be worth it. But we'll take our Scant removal. Packs continue to be weak for us, unfortunately. Well, Fires of Invention is, of course, all the rage in Constructed right now, and especially when the ban comes out, most likely targeting Field of the Dead, I think next week, maybe 2 weeks from now, then Fire of Invention decks are probably going to leap to the forefront even more so than they are. Unfortunately, it does nothing for us now in Limited. The only thing that we're really looking at is Fairy Godmother, the Flying Griffin, and that's about it. These aren't even worth a splash, even if we wanted to. In between these 2, let's look at our curve, but I think we might actually end up with the Steelgaze Griffin. Well, we actually already have 2 through 4s. Oops, nope, not that. So, our top end looks okay. Really, more than anything, we're weak with our Dance of the Manse synergies, though we've shorted up a little bit. Weapon Right probably doesn't make it. I say probably. I'm not even sure about these 2. See how many playables we have. Some more flyers, some iffy removal, counter. Lucky Clover might not even make it. Really, we might need to can pick up some ops if we see him, because now we have Fairy Vandal. I thought we had another draw 2 payoff, maybe I'm wrong. Well, that gives us another 5-drop, which is pretty chunky, with limited upside. I think we might just want to take another Fairy Guide Mother and hope that we're able to splash this Return to the Wild Speaker, or just be able to play the tempo game well enough to beat down our opponent before they can finish us off or stabilize. Again, though, it's just some pretty weak packs for us, unfortunately. Alright, another Shine Chaser might be okay. This is an enchantment. Probably doesn't really get busted. We don't want to plan on getting milled, just so we can bring this back with Dance of the Dance. And then other than that, I don't know if it makes any of our creatures more block-worthy, as we'll usually be attacking, or if we're needing to block, they're already block-worthy. If we were able to, say, improve damage, +1, +0 instead of +0, +1, that's a different story. But I think here, given that we've talked about all of these already, I haven't mentioned Wicked Guardian. Wicked Guardian is nice, again, same sort of black deck. You don't see it as much, but as long as you have at least a couple targets, it's just the same as a Blade Juggler or anything that gives you a little hurt, but it gives you a little card to take away that hurt, as you can pay for it. Guess we just take our payoff again. We've got a pretty good setup now that the Shine Chaser should be able to attack pretty regularly. Sorcerer's Broom? Possibly. I don't think we have enough food synergies to really take full advantage of this. And there is an outflank, which I think we still want one of, and we're getting pretty much near the last bit of this draft. So without any more eggs, we probably don't have Return of the Wild Speaker. We'll put Lucky Clover over here for now. I know we have 2 Guide Mothers now, but I'm not sure if that's enough, since again, we also want to look for things that synergize with our Dance of the Manse to bring back later. 2 Flyers in the air. A couple possible no-goes. We'll leave Virtual in for the moment. So those would be our 3 cuts. And that would leave us with... might actually be a cut too. Or if we have a couple different cuts that we could make. But this is what we do want, right? So that's 3 artifacts, 4 artifacts, enchantment, artifact. So we're turning on our Flutter Foxes, we're turning on our Shine Chasers pretty regularly with our artifact. And that's all pretty good. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all of these actually get activated by Dance of the Manse. So we did a decent job of bringing that back around. So that said, we only have a Runaway Together, a So Tiny, Mystical Dispute, Trapped in a Tower. Pretty weak in our removal. Really wouldn't mind seeing a Cauldron. Whatever the artifact is, it's kind of expensive, but does 3 damage. Sorcerer's Broom could be another 2-drop. It can be brought back with Dance. It could, I guess, even copy itself, since we have Ginger Boots and Golden Eggs that we can sack on demand. But that's it. But that's it. So that's a little dicier. Outflank, I think with all of our tiny creatures, might be better for us. We might even play 2 if we still see a second one. I think it's a tough or a close decision, but since we can't really use the text on Sorcerer's Broom nearly as well, it just becomes sort of another jousting dummy. And in that case, really, I think we need our outflank for the moment. Alright, it's a pretty good late pick. Even though we wouldn't mind another Flutter Fox, which is almost always going to be a 2/2 flyer, we'll take a potentially game-winning trick attached to a slightly bigger body for a little bit more mana. We would totally play this Didn't Say Please if neither of these were here. And even the land, I think, would probably be worth it in our deck. Fortunately, no color fixing whatsoever, so our pick 1, pack 3 is a whiff, but I'm still okay with that decision. Being able to pump everybody for +3/+3 at instant speed, if we had been able to fix that mana in the air, would probably have been definitely a crushing blow, if not a game-winning turn. But let's stick with Tactician. Alright, yay, golden egg. I was looking at scavengers for half a second. So we wouldn't be totally upset if we ended up playing one of these. I think we have enough other air synergies going on that the effect just doesn't pass the sniff test. In fact, we might even take the gargoyle over those scavengers if this egg wasn't here. Not really sure, but let's be super happy and take our egg. Alright, probably just another prized griffin. Since we are going to be just focusing on beating down in the air, I don't know if we play all 3, but I'm almost positive we don't play 2 weapon racks and we already have 1 in our sideboard. So, yep. Alright, Monitor is welcome. It's not a... Oh man, Reeve Souls should not be going pick 9 and pack 3. As you can see, I think black is still way more exploitable. And if you're still unsure and aren't as confident in your picks, you can probably force a black X deck, even mono black deck, and do okay, and sometimes even really good. It's just the nature of the beast as long as we still have bot drafting. So it's something to be aware of for sure. On the flip side, it also pushes up things that can protect against black, so the meta adapts to itself. Once in Future is a good card. We're definitely not in green or even trying to splash, but it's worth mentioning that in the land of a million removals, especially with not too many of them being exiled, being able to regrow 2 cards from your graveyard straight to your hand is pretty strong. Get your 2 best cards back. If the opponent doesn't have a way to recycle their own cards, you're essentially 2 cards ahead. And even Forever Youngs probably shouldn't be going this late. I think a lot of people play too many of these. Usually you want at least 1, but generally not more than 2, and even then you want decks with like Sir Conrad's in it to take full advantage. It can be a bit of a drawback if you put a bunch of tiny creatures back on top of your library, and then you know that you're definitely drawing creature netting to the board for those turns. If opponent has any sort of disruption or evasive maneuverings that or a creature that you can't take care of in the meantime, then it's possible that they can run away with the game, knowing that your draw steps are all gummed up by a bunch of smaller creatures. But yeah, happily take the Corridor Monitor. Alright, that Runaway Together is going way too late as well, but more's the pity for us. This card doesn't matter. Yeah, we end up with provisions anyway, in case we want to play it. And the Broom? Wow. Okay, and even a playable land. Well, we got plenty of playables. Our power level is pretty low, but plenty of playables. So just to start, I'm taking out anything that even maybe isn't going to make the deck. So I'm going to be pretty brutal just to start. Actually, let's see. Anything that I would prefer not to have to play kind of gets picked out here. Oh man, and that drops us to exactly 40. Well, let's see what I left ourselves with. First, 16 creatures, that is a lot. But probably where we're going to need to be if we're trying to swarm the air. Main concern is probably going to be dealing with opponent's creatures and removal. To that end, we probably have to bring back in our So Tiny and our Mystical Dispute. If this was a Didn't Say Please, the hard counter spell, we probably wouldn't have taken it out at all. But we had to pass up on that to get, I think, one of our eggs, or at least another pretty crucial piece, if I remember. But looks like we're, finishing by beating down in the air. A lot of air beats. Air beats, just air beats for days. So pretty much just want to make sure our Shine Chaser is turned on. So let's bring back our So Tiny East. Outflank, Trapped in Tower, Runaway Together. These are tempo plays, or tricky plays. Vandal doesn't get good enough. We only have 2 eggs, 1 Tome Raider. Oof. I mean, even if it becomes a 2-3, it's alright. Just kind of hard when we can't take full advantage of it. But these are all definitely things we're not. I guess Clockwork Servant also triggers it, so it stays in. Flutterfox stays in. Monitor stays in. So possibly... Dummy stays in too? Interesting, I didn't anticipate having too many. So Fairy Guide Mother, It does fly. It does give us a little boost to make other things fly if we need to. Hit them in the face for 3 or more. It is jousting down the better with the Sorcerer's Broom. I think so. The pump ability, being able to just even have to sink 3 to pump this up to be able to trade with a creature with 3 toughness. Whoops. Probably just edges it out with the potential long-term upside of being able to split up our brooms and flood the board. We just really don't have enough sacrifice mechanics. And we don't have enough, I think, adventure mechanics to justify Clover. We really want and need artifact creatures and artifacts that can sacrifice themselves so that we can power up our late lands. To that end, I think we need to play the Dispute just because we have such weak interaction. And we're going to need to be able to disrupt a few plans along the way. We're not blocking a lot. We're almost exclusively racing through the sky. So, we're 2 cards over. Possibly run away together. Even though it's a great card, it doesn't power up or work into our synergies like a So Tiny does. And then I think a Fairy Guide Mother. Just because it also doesn't synergize well, and it's possible we come back in and adjust these again once we've played a game or 2. But this is our blue-white, hopefully late game. Get our dance on. And all important back home. Yep, I think that's fitting. And actually double check. Our colors usually 2 colors, the bot gets it right. Yeah, 9 and 8. This only cares about adamant one way or the other. I don't think my chest does. Well, alright, let's go test it out. It's the first time we've drafted one of these types of decks. Alright, let's give it a try. See how it works out. It's hard to find the balance between enough artifacts and enchantments that are useful, and that can also be brought back with Dance of the Manse, with a shortage of golden eggs. And I think maybe we sent the bots some signals that they picked up on with all that glitters is not gold, or however that's phrased. And possibly that pushed us a little bit out of white, and we weren't able to see as many of the good enchantments and golden eggs that we wanted. This isn't great, but I don't want to go down a card this early. Yeah, we can So Tiny, possibly. What are we trying to draw into? Actually, I guess we should mulligan this. We just don't have any plays in the first couple turns, and we kind of need to be able to set ourselves up. This looks better. What to get rid of, though? Probably the Archon, even though it's a good flyer for us. We want to keep all 3 mana, and just one of our only removals, so turn 1 play is fine, and Tome Raider gets us our card back. Not great. It's definitely a better starting hand than our original. Right. Can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man, sucker. Okay, well, opponent's got a pretty good card. Can't even trapped in the tower it. Let's see, it can't attack unless I get 7 or more in my graveyard, and it can block up until he has less than 4 cards. And it mills slightly. Okay, good times. Let's go ahead and play our egg. Not bad. Last turn. Well, Vantress Gargoyle is going to be a big pain for us. The fact that we don't have a lot of ways to deal with it. In fact, a good outflank might be your best bet. It's going to be a little harder for us. Well, opponent has no problem playing Provisions and gets a land out of our way, so that's nice. Let's go ahead and get Vandal down first, I think. And then we can pop it up next turn. Not that it's going to matter too much. It's fine though. Yeah, Shine Chaser doesn't have any more value. We're just going to get stonewalled. And we could have put down the blue and bluffed a counter, but if they had an actual counter, then there's just more downside than that. Ooh, opponent's very ambitious, playing 3 color. Alright, currently it can't block, and if they play one more spell, that will be true for when we can attack in. That'd be great for us. Still won't be able to attack. Ooh, okay. Possibly they have... Okay, there goes our Dance of the Manse. That's not good. Figured they might have some way to untap it. Possibly not, though. Can't think of anything off the top of my head. So we're going to probably be able to get 3 damage in. Unfortunately, we have 0 ways of getting Dance of the Manse back. We only ended up with one of the basic land cycles, and it wasn't blue, it wasn't the Mystic. Alright, not too impressed with Giant Skewer. Okay. Let's grab our Tome Raider. Pump up the Vandal. Alright, good. That golden egg's going to be good for us next turn, too. Alright, well, we're piecing it together so far. Mostly I feel because it's... Not sure if opponent's really trying to mill, or they may also have a Dance of the Manse. Witching Well's another great card that is even better in a deck like ours with Dance, but we didn't see any of those. Right. Go for it. They're still pretty far away from being able to attack, but they can at least block now. Except for they keep tapping out early, which is strange. Okay. Not sure. Maybe they don't understand they can block as well? Not really sure. Well, we can Adamant the Servant. And that'll trigger our Vandal, or we can Egg and Shine Chaser. That feels better. So let's Egg first. Okay. Oh, I guess we could still... But we'll save that for next turn. Go ahead and just Shine Chaser. Let's attack and then Shine Chaser. We've almost got our Vandal big enough that we don't care. Whoops, not you. There we go. So we're doing what we want to. We have a large, wide board to attack with. We might want to look at the Silver Flame again. It's possible that it's supposed to be in here. Like I said, it's just hard to balance because we need our synergies to go off first and foremost, and then we can worry about a go wide attack. Alright, opponent goes for their bounce. If they tap down again, then I don't really know. Okay. Alright, so they get the bounce on the Fairy Vandal now. Which we're okay with, because we can adamant using planes. Though we may just want to trap it in a tower. And actually, it can't block now, so I guess they'll probably go ahead and mill again, I assume. Can't block once you have 4 more cards in hand. Alright, so there's no way for it to block. So... we'll get a Shine Chaser bonus too. So I guess we can Trapped, and then Fairy Vandal. And next turn, Clockwork Servant to trigger the Vandal. Probably sounds best. It's possible they bounce their own creature as well with the turn into a pumpkin. It's possible. We're going to get a decent smack on them though. And yep, can't block. Need at least 4 cards, bud. And we're still pretty far away from being able to attack. This is really built to be in a mill style deck, because then you can fill up your opponent's graveyard quick enough to be able to attack in before turn, 8 or 9 or 10. And it has its own self-mill feature. Alright, so... not sure what opponent would bounce here. I guess the Shine Chaser? It won't be too big of a deal for us. There, I think there it is. Okay, so bounce the Shine Chaser. Get 4 cards on their hand. See if they realize they need to keep all 4. Unless they were looking for the mana to be able to equip Skewer, which they still can't attack with. Alright, so they keep 4 cards. Now would be a decent time for us to draw our Runaway Together. Mystical Dispute, not as good. So let's draw a card. Right, so draw a card. I'm still getting with the Gingerbread. And then possibly if we draw a land, we Shine Chase, hold up Dispute. If nothing else, we hold up Dispute. Though I don't know how much good it's going to do us. Otherwise, we can put down a 3/4 flyer. Doesn't seem as good. Alright, so Play Servant. Draw a card. Pump our Vandal. Oh, that's a weird noise. That is a weird noise. Alright. And end up pulling the plants. So not so bad. Means we can't use Dispute unless they have a blue spell, but we're flooding the board pretty well. So... nuts. We can't actually attack with Gingerbrute unless we want to not hold up Dispute. Is it worth it? Nah, I think we want a big swing next turn. It'd be better for us. Knowing that we're not drawing to Dance of the Manse anymore sort of disincentivizes attacking willy-nilly with our artifact creatures and, you know, sacking our golden eggs. Because at this point, yeah, we would be thinking about more trying to fit in a golden egg sack or a Gingerbrute servant that can get blocked and killed and not matter as much. But with no late game recursive value, we need to make do with what we have now. And we're in a pretty good position, but opponent's got a lot of mana. And they're getting closer and closer to be able to start, well, not that close, but closer to be able to start attacking. Can make them tap their mana out, which I don't hate. Do we care enough? Actually, yeah, because now they can't block. So let's go ahead and counter that. It prevents them from being able to block with the Gargoyle. So now we just have a 3/4 to deal with. Sure, eat some food. Last turn. It's very delicate. You can see why we would like something like the +3/+3 to all the creatures if we had been able to splash. Okay, that's fine. Gargoyle down. Ooh, outflank. Perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead. Just to make a point. Or outflank a little bit. Go ahead and just swing with everything. Okay, we blow its head off. And now we're very close to having inevitability. At best it blocks. As the board stands, our 3/4. Still have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other damage coming through. Basically it needs to deal with 1 or even 2 creatures and still be able to block with the Gargoyle? Yeah. Throne of Eldraine, the interactions really get very delicate and very complex, and you have a balancing act with almost any given deck of being able to trade off which resources for when. I feel in that game our opponent just didn't realize how best to use the Gargoyle, because they could have blocked a lot of those early attacks that we did, and then still have used the Gargoyle's ability to mill us at the end of our turn if we wanted. If they wanted. Alright. Swing away. So, definitely the common blue tap land that puts a sorcery back on top of our deck would have been way more preferable than the white one that puts a counter on a creature. But it's just not the way the deck went for us. Rather, the draft. So we have turn 1, 1/1 flyer, and then pretty much one of our only removal spells, and then no mana. I think we have to mulligan again. Alright. Definitely better. I think we can get away with putting an island to the bottom, just because we have Golden Egg, and then between that, getting another land for Tome Raider kind of opens us up. And in the meantime, Gingerbrute and Flutterfox can do some work. I think that might be our best bet. So if we pull land naturally, then we can just 2-3 into Tome Raider. If not, then we'll Flutter Fox, Golden Egg. Okay. Damn. Gingerbread didn't work. I see a lot of ops being played, and unless you're in the draw 2 deck, generally they're not going to be as good for you. You're going to lose power. In a 40 card deck versus a 60 card constructed, where you often see those, they're not as large percentage of the deck, of course, but also the strategies they enable are very specific. And while that strategy in the draw 2 deck exists, and a lot of times it can even seem like it's smoothing your draw a lot, you're taking up a whole card slot in a 40 card deck just to be able to replace that card with. So, alright, so we drew a land on time, so we can Tome Raider. I think we still attack first. If they try and flash something in, we can deal with that. Nope. Alright. So beatdown proceeding as planned. And we're doing a pretty good job of keeping our hand refilled, so not too shabby. Looks like opponent's on a similar deck, or at least similar colors, and I can't imagine why else you'd be in these colors unless you were trying to artifact enchantment. But we have a pretty decent board presence for 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, trapped in a tower. Now I wonder, I think if we make this flying, that the enchantment slips off. And I think we're going to actually try that right meow. Yeah, we're going to, I'm pretty sure this should work. Yep, and away we go. Things like that, protection spells, okay. Protection from certain type or color. As long as you change the base stats of the creature that's enchanted, the enchantment checks again. And in that case, since the conditions were no longer met, we're trapped in the tower. If it was flying, the enchantment fell off. Definitely same deck type though. Would be surprised if opponent doesn't have a Dance of the Manse also. Alright. Alright. I don't think that's worth... I don't think that's worth a Trapped in the Tower. At least not yet. So let's go ahead, make this unblockable. Go ahead and swing in. Keep chipping away. Slowly but surely. Slowly and surely. See, the problem is, even though it looks like we're in a really good position, all of our creatures are just so tiny that we're actually still pretty far away from closing this out. This deck's just not quite at the power level of some of the other decks I've been able to put together in traditional. Okay, outflank's pretty good. So how much does this cost? 4? Alright. So we activate this, and then outflank whatever is most beneficial to us. Okay, kind of thought that was coming. I think we save the Ginger Brute just because it's guaranteed damage, even though our flying damage would be guaranteed if we save the flyer. Alright. Not the worst, not the worst. Replace Servant, gets another card. Okay. We can dump our hand. 2, 3. Still don't need to use the Trapped in the Tower yet. Let's go ahead and swing first. This is definitely death by 1,000 cuts. Okay. Counters Jousting Dummy. Get our Lock Queen down. That's turn. I mean, I don't really know. I might have saved it for the Gargoyle, to be honest. Since it can fly over, but however it works. Might be actually worth trapping the Beloved Princess in the tower, which would be super unflavored. You don't want them gaining any life back. Okay. And we finally hit a land. Alright. So we trap the princess in the tower. We start taking 3 damage if he wants to start attacking, which is fine. Our clock is way faster. If he doesn't block the Gargoyle with a chump this time and goes for the Guide Mother instead, then he's on a 2-turn clock. I think most of that feels pretty good. Actually gonna be 1 short. Is what it is. No, if they have an outflank, alright, no outflank. It's fine, trades up. And gave himself 1 extra turn. I mean, it's kind of half dozen one, 6 the other if we hadn't attacked with the Brute. Just to be able to play the Trap Tower, then that's 1 less damage. Alright, so here's their big bomb. Anthem effect. Legendary spell gives him creature tokens, or he can tap, which he won't have enough to this turn. Well, 2 life is a little more annoying. But there's not much we can do about it. Oh, okay. Alright, well, looks like opponent did the math and decided it wasn't worth trying to finish out. I mean, we had a pretty good hold on it, and we were going to Trapped in the Tower next turn there anyway, but that's like a 2 to 3 turn clock, and if anything else came up, especially since they'd be able to start producing tokens, they definitely weren't out of it, but we'll take it. W's a W. Alright, let's keep it going. Well, so far, 2 hands, 2 mulligans, 2 wins, so hopefully we can pull it off again. Well, the fact that we can play all of these cards means we are going to keep a 2-lander, but we're not happy about it. So we go turn 1, turn 2. Guess we're getting rid of the jousting dummy. Yeah, alright. Oh, right. Duh. Okay. Yeah. Just need some lands, some more draw cards, golden eggs would be fine. Okay. There's an egg. Don't necessarily want to start trading damage, but yeah, just next turn. Hopefully we either draw mana or we golden egg into a mana, because we can always outflank the Rimrock Knight with almost no chance of being able to be re-blown out. Haven't seen a whole lot of aggro decks. It's definitely doable. It's just a little trickier, and since there's so much removal, the tendency to try and figure out the mid and late game decks first is definitely the tendency. Okay. Alright, didn't even want to try giving that up. So now... Don't want a golden egg just yet, because I think we're going to Trapped in the Tower and So Tiny. So let's trap the Raiders in the tower. Yeah, makes sense. And I think we're going to go ahead and So Tiny the Rimrock Knight. I think. We may take the damage. Okay. Now the outflank seems even more attractive. So we can hold up and just outflank next turn, and that'll remove it completely, and it's got such low life that that feels better than just blunting 2 damage off of it per turn. Alright, let's draw a card. See if we can hit a land drop. Nope. Run away. Fine. And then we'll outflank on their turn. Not too bad. I'm assuming opponents shut off of a color. It's possible they're mono red. It's definitely doable to play almost any mono color deck in this set. Well, no, and it looks like, yeah, he's probably just mono red. Definitely simplifies things, but you do need some key cards to get a powerful enough deck to make it worth it. And I doubt this Flutter Fox goes all the way, but who am I to judge? Right, go ahead and outflank. So you have a pump. I think there's probably a few pumps. If all he has is a removal spell, though, we're still doing the 1 damage, so he definitely needs a pump. Alright, so probably no pump, but probably a removal for the Flutter Fox if necessary. And that's it. Alright. Well, we'll definitely take a mana. Go for it. Here it comes. So it's probably Dragonfire, yeah. And we could run away together, but it's clearly not worth it. Alright, and we even have a So Tiny if we so desired. Oh wait, that's right, we have the Trapped, so we get full value already. Nice. Alright. Decent, decent, decent. For the Joust, So even so tiny isn't going to cut it. Well, that is unfortunate. Oh, it wasn't a knight. We screwed that up. I totally assumed that Red Cap Raiders was a knight, and we kind of screwed ourselves. I guess it's not the worst. We can so tiny the Smasher since we're going to get wrecked by it. Could also run away together. Let's hold on. We might want to run away together. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and draw. Okay. Get to redraw again next turn. Not ideal, but we're going to go for it. That does suck. We had the right play lined up. I just didn't recheck the type. It's only a fight card unless the person that's doing the fighting owns a knight. Or rather, it's cast on a knight. Yep, gets back out. And the 7 dwarves. Alright. We're scrambling in this one. Alright, well, there's a Dance of the Manse that does us pretty much no good. Yep, pretty much no good. So we're going to take 5. Yeah, it's kind of end of story. So we need to get these golden eggs. Well, that's a problem, isn't it? Alright, let's give up Clockwork Servant. It's more fuel for the Manse. God. Is this trample? Oh wait, this makes it trample. Oh god. Alright. So we're going to have to so tiny that. And luckily it's going to completely nullify it. And to be honest, we're not in the worst position, since we do have an answer to this Smasher. Okay. Alright, 2 more mana to get the full value. See what happens. I believe... yeah. It's just worth pumping that. Kind of makes our Mystical Dispute not an issue, but I think we need to race at this point. Okay. Let's go ahead and sack out. Okay. I think we just go this way, hold up Dispute, get the flyer on the battlefield rather. Given that opponent has 7 mana and almost no cards, there's not much that Mystical Dispute's going to do. But never can tell. That's unfortunate. There's not even any reason to make him pay extra mana. He's still going to have all the mana he needs. So there goes the Tactician, most likely. Alright. Yeah, he forgot non-human as well. That's fine. Go ahead and sack the other egg. Okay, Cauldron's the Tactician. Alright, even bigger flyer. Don't hate it. Should have caught the auto tapper, but doesn't matter again, they don't have any blue spells. Always good to know though, auto tapper not looking, can't actually read, it's just programmed. Burning through their deck. Alright, Ginger Brute, not the worst. We have 6, we can bring back 1, 2, 3. 3. We can bring back those 3 things. We draw 2 cards and have a 2/3 on board. I think that's probably worth it. Alternately, we can block with the Ginger Brute and sack it for life, and then bring everything back again with Dance and Dance next turn anyway. Maybe that's better. Certainly seems better. Let's go with that. Also works out math-wise for us. Because if they do nothing, we actually have lethal. If he goes for a 5-mana, whatever that red removal spell is, that's perfectly fine. We can dispute that. Alright, that makes it more likely we can dispute whatever he brings out now. Might be fine in the line here. If he has any way to deal with our Swan Griffin flyer, then he's on a minimum of 2-turn clock. Okay. Okay. We can take 4. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay. It's possible we're just good here. Yeah, so we'll dispute that. And then swing in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just time to get a Dance of the Mance. Chew. Attack ball, begin. Whew, right on the nose for Xaxes. Alright, you gotta assume that opponent probably had some better mono red payoffs. If not, I didn't see anything too crazy. Something like that Toll Brand that gives extra damage for all red sources would definitely be a reason to go into mono. Alright, let's burn another one. This doesn't feel like it should be a 3-0 deck, but such as it is. We're still pretty low in the rankings. I still believe that there's a tendency for the game matcher when it matches you up. Arena likes to find like decks, so similar decks. Because I feel like I've seen more cards that we have in our deck that I haven't played with before in other opponents' decks. And we haven't run into any really blue-black grindy, any really aggressive black, anything really. Which is honestly best color / color pairing in the format. So there might be some client bias. Won't be complaining too much though. 5 wins is our goal for any of these. Alright. Not great, but it's the first one that we were able to keep all 7 of our cards, so that's nice. Ooh, alright, so it was our first mill. Okay, absolutely. Thank you for getting those planes out of the way. Mill is also just a coin flip, of course, for whatever they mill. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not great. I mean, generally you don't want to be milled, but also, if they're going to mill, might as well mill 2 lands you didn't want out of the way. Wonder if we should just go, in case we get another plains and try to hit the Servant on curve. Guess that's okay. If we don't, we could throw down a plains and then a golden egg. Keep up the so tiny. Really want to get max value for this guy. Alright. We'll take that. Ooh, nice. And we even get the island on curve. Works for me. Alright, well, we have enough land. And opponent even milled 2 of our lands, so we have all the lands we need. And here's the blue-black, right on time. That's what I get for poking the bear. Alright, so not too much to do. Guess we could egg first. Make it look like we're looking for land. Okay. Didn't mean to attack with the monitor, but, you know, I gotta send a message. Interesting. I don't really want to kill it, so we'll let it go. Taking unnecessary damage on the backswing because we clicked too fast, and let's go ahead and play another egg. Oh my goodness. 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 in the top 15. Gross. At least we didn't have to draw 2 of them. Yeah, okay, interesting. So now we have open mana, which is not very fun for us because we don't want to play our prized griffin into any control spell. But also, we don't want to just pass the turn having used none of our mana. I mean, I'm not sure, besides a didn't say please what they would have held up. Yeah, we're gonna wait. Kind of need this big flyer to stick and force them to use a removal spell and not just a counter. Alright, so he's still keeping up. I bet he blocks with the noble and then tries to eat the apprentice, possibly. Alright, let's find out. Luckily, we have a lot of mana to work with. Alright, so kill the noble. So it's so tiny. The apprentice. We might have to use 2 spells here. He goes for the counter. We outflank the noble. Alright, he goes for the... Alright, so we're 2 for 2ing, essentially. Which isn't great for us, but we don't mind that much. We could also bounce it back to his hand and get another draw. I don't hate that. Kind of want to draw another card. Alright, let's go that route. It wastes his trigger, essentially. Still keeps our outflank, and now we can draw an extra card. Alright. We are on track to be able to answer the Manse properly. So that is nice. Still feel like opponent is holding on to some counter. So we have 8. Don't mind if he hits the dummy. Alright, potato, potato. see what happens here. Alright, let's see what happens. So if he blocks again, I think we prefer that he kills that stuff and then counters the outflank. And then we can sneak the Griffin in. And if not, then we can blow up his block. So it goes for the counter. And actually we screwed up, we should have reordered blockers. Okay, so there's the counter. We screwed up. We should have reordered blockers. He gets all action and nothing that we're going to get back with Dance, but he doesn't get Dance, so that's good. Yep, screwed that one up. Guess we could say that we're getting flyers out of it, or getting the skies clear so that we get our flyers through, but honestly that was just a punt. Alright, Reeve Soul. I think that clears the way for our prized Griffin, but then after that we're just sitting Swan Ducks. Alright, that'll come in handy against opponent. So now we can recounter a counter. And I think we're happy to trade. All it is Dance of the Manse fuel for us, so if he wants to keep the board clear, more's the pity. Guess we should have attacked the monitor too, but it's fine. And if necessary, we can Indeg. Oh my goodness, I wish we could have countered that. Okay, that's fine. Opponent slams Sir Conrad. We'll eat an egg for some food. No Dance of the Manse. Still, we do have a counter up, which should still be effective. Sure, we'll just take it. Goes for a Reef Soul. We cannot do anything about that. We can force him to pay, but then if he's got the counter, he just recounters anyway, and we get milled. I think we just take it. And as you can see, Black's got much more powerful cards. Oh no, and we're flooding. So all of the things are happening, unfortunately, so let's get our race on. I should have sacked that egg at the end of last turn. Okay. Okay. Okay, getting all that land out of the way. I don't know if we have any land left in our deck. Sure. Yep. Alright, and now we need Dance or nothing. Dance or die. That's not a dance. We can double pump, which can kill Sir Conrad. Except for it's probably just going to get Cauldron immediately. I mean, it's not like we're going to lose anything. We'll force him to use the Cauldron. Yep, no problem. Here, we'll even do that for funsies. And now it's dance or bust. Dance or bust. Oh my goodness, we're screwed. So here's 2 more activations off of Sir Conrad. He's either digging us closer, or oh man, he might. He shouldn't be able to finish us. I don't think. It's 3 more activations. Unless Dance of the Manse is practically the last spell, we're probably done here. As you can see, Sir Conrad's basically a mythic, uncommon. Can single-handedly mill, kill, and tax other effects at all times. Let's see if he mills first or not. Oh, okay, so only 1 mill. Does he mill first? Nope, and we flood out, so that's game. It's pretty amazing. I don't think there's any... Oh, there's 1 more land, so 5, 19, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 1 land and 1 Dance of the Manse and 4 other cards. Yuck. Yeah, it's kind of a feel bad when that happens, but we just got outclassed. Our deck is very, very narrow. Let's keep it rolling. See if we can bounce back. Now, if we don't get our deck to line up correctly, it's going to be hard to finish out some of these games where we run into more powerful cards. We really need tempo, speed, and a little bit of luck if we need to Dance of the Manse back. Like in that last game, if we had picked it up in anywhere in the last 3 or 4 turns, we would have had a pretty good shot at being able to close out the game. Fortunately, it's not the case, but such is life. So we start with Dance if we want, and we can cast a Dispute if we're playing against blue and want to. Other than that, we're really hurting for a white mana. I think we keep it. I think it'll give us our best chance at being able to draw out of this single color screw. We still have 3 land drops, we just really need a white. I mean, so far we mulligan pretty fairly, but I feel like we can make this hand work. Now I really want this hand to work. If we can pick up a plains, then we'll be doing okay. That is the opposite of a plains. Well, good news is we get to counter whatever our opponent's first spell is. Yep, that works. Essentially a 2-for-1. Get both sides of it. And now we are hurting. I'm going to throw it into full control just to try and make them think that possibly we have more counters. But honestly, we're just screwed for the moment. This is unfortunate. Well, this is our nightmare, right? 11 cards in, no planes. As soon as we get even 1, though, we are off to the races. And we're kind of lucky in the fact that our opponent hasn't cast anything yet, or at least... Alright, so they're knights. Probably at least Mardu. Oh man, this hurts. Okay, at least it's a castable spell. And there's a lot of cards we can either cast, or if we just get 1 plains, cast that's already in our hand. So this isn't ideal, but we're not out of it. Okay, it's going to start to get a little more troublesome if we have a lot of knights to deal with. And we keep drawing white cards. Oh, magic. 13 cards in. Fickle thing. Well, let's just take our beats the fair way. I'm not ready to give up the Vandal just yet for 3 points of damage. Looks So you might be thinking about outflanking it. Should start to be pretty clear to our opponent we don't have a counter. And I feel like any creature we put down is probably going to get its head blown off, but there's not much we can do about that. Let's give him a little sweat. I could think possibly we're actually... No, I guess you can have that, even though we have nothing to say about it. Sweet baby Jesus, yes. Alright. So do we slam the Griffin? Probably, even though it's going to, again, probably get its head blown off. Actually, we slam the Archon. Or do we put the Griffin down, let it take the removal hit, and then put down the Archon after he's gone through one? That sounds a little more reasonable. Since we haven't given him too many good targets yet, I feel like it's probably reasonable that they have at least a removal spell. And this will give him a chance to use it on the Griffin first. And yeah, we should probably give up the Vandal. Man, that's not good. 8-3. It's probably game. Yep, that's game. Good game. By good game, I mean unfortunate game. There's not too much more we could have done there, except for we could have mulliganed it first. But it was pretty statistically unreasonable that we not make it. Still, let's give the old college a try. Okay, it's going to be able to tap creature anyway. So, very unreasonable that this works. If we draw a card and hit a mana, puts us to 4. Right now we just have 5. I guess we can... No, can't even outflank because we need the planes. Alright, so let's put an egg down and then we can tap. It's still going to kill us though, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it was a good run. I guess we could... No. If we Guide Mother, eat the egg. Alright, maybe that's our best bet. Again, I don't know if any of this is really going to work or not. 1, 2, maybe. So he taps the Griffin. Oh, we can use the egg to tap down 2 other things. Okay. Yeah? Yeah. Alright, so... Guess we could also use it to outflank. I don't think that was going to be good enough, though. Okay. Well, that's game. We have no way of dealing with that. Let's keep playing out just for the sake of playing out. 3, 4, 5, 3. I mean, out of boredom, I guess we're going to attack just because the Archon is unblockable. Why not? Two for them, 2 for us. Sure thing. Oh, there we go. Good game. Alright, we could have conceded all the way back when we played the first Ravens. I really just wanted to see how that game played out. If you fast forward through the end of it, then I don't blame you. Let's see if we can at least get a winning record with this deck. So far, we have not been able to cast Dance of the Manse even once, even for less than X equals 4, or 6 rather. Alright, this is much more reasonable starting hand than our other one. Okay. Good old black-green mid-range. Okay. Golden egg off the top would be just dandy. Okay. If not, monitor holding up outflank's not the worst. It'll go ahead and pump the Shine Chaser. Okay. Oh, well, that's fine. Should we trap the Legion? Gives an extra point. I feel like there's probably bigger stuff we're going to want to trap in the tower. Okay, big to the pie. And might as well take this opportunity to outflank. And we're flooding out again. Since he's got the food, seems like a bad trade to start trading damage. We'll go ahead and mute opponent. I don't feel like dealing with an idiot. Yeah, that's fine. It's a race of sorts. Golden egg, sure. Leaf Rider. Should we trap that? Let's trap that. I feel like we're going to get a juicier target for the Mystical Dispute. And trapped is conditional, so I can screw with you. Actually, I guess we're going to do it this way. Makes the best use of our beta if we're not going to be able to dispute. And hopefully they don't slam a Garrick and laugh in our face. Oh, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Yeah, maybe we should have kept up the counter. That's not so bad. It's not great. Also has reach. Nice. Alright. It's got a lot of food to eat over there. So this race is still going to be tighter than we want. We'll keep missing our disputes. It's fine. We want to go ahead and use all 4 points to block the trample damage of the Witch Stalker. Okay. Well, I guess I take that back. Now he just needs removal. But we're going to keep plugging away. Yep, chewing down on that food. Now try and play Garrick. Perfectly fine. Definitely mana leak the crap out of that. Not sure. Outmuscle? Return to nature. Oh. Okay. Interesting, he didn't free up his creature instead. Because he still can't attack well. Okay. Now outmuscle, maybe? If we're ever young and we don't enough to counter it. Well, that's unfortunate. Blocking dummy. Some more food. Hopefully he pulls a good spell, something that will allow us to use this dispute. Nope, can't use it on that. Guess we could have forced him not to be able to eat the food. Alright, there we go. Not even sure which one we hate more. Okay, we'll take an egg. Please don't tap my only blue mana. Perfect, okay. So we can block the Curious Pair and then bounce the Runaway, or excuse me, bounce the dummy and Witch Stalker with Runaway. That might get us there. We also get to eat that food, which is pretty nice. This has been a tight one. Okay, so he's got an out. Okay. That's going to be a little trickier. Oh, man. And then whiff on the draw. I almost don't want to put down this island in case I can fool him into I have something, except for auto tappers tap my only island again for no reason. So if that eats that, chump there. What if we swing out? It's got 6, 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One off of forcing a trade. If we take 4, does it matter? I think we need to swing. Yep. All right. So, even with the food he gets, Actually, that's still one off. We need to pull something that draws us an extra card so we can pump the Vandal. So we take 7. That's 7 life. He has to block. So we kill that. But then we're just dead on the backswing anyway. Yeah, not entirely sure if we could have played that better. No, come on! We whiff. Okay. I'd still probably eat the food if I were him. Ah, man, this is tight. Wish we didn't whiff right there. I mean, he needs one more card to be able to finish us, but that's all he needs. Okay, so we win. Nice. Woo! That was a tight one. Tight, tight, tight. Down to the last bit. He ate at least 5 food for an extra 15 life, so we definitely put some extra damage out. Just tells you how close the games are in this format, just down to the wire. Alright, so we got our 4. We get one more win. That's a full-on win on the run, in my opinion. If you're a pretty good, pretty consistent drafter, and after you start filling out the collections, 5 wins is not quite infinite, but close. Like, kind of 5.5 is infinite. Well, should be able to cast roughly half our hand, but then we're waiting to cast our 2 of our most expensive cards. If we don't hit mana, we have no way to draw. Seems like a bad keep. Yeah, no enablers. Just up to the whims of the top deck. Ugh. Well, I don't like going to 5 in any case, so we're keeping this, but we're not happy. I don't think we need double blue more than we need white. Yeah. Neither hand was great. If I had known what the second one was, we might have kept the first one. Okay. A little mill action going. More mill. Okay. Well, I'll say this much. We are curving out our flying force. And if they don't have any ways to deal with that, then we might be able to kill them before they mill us. Okay. Mana off the top makes us look like a genius. Okay. Well, possibly we're just going to be able to flyer beat down before they can bring their mill to bear. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'll take a freebie any day of the week. Mark it. Fastest game of Throne of Eldraine Limited I've played. Sure, we actually have a silly mill deck that'll fit into. Alright. Officially a winning deck somehow. Able to edge out a lot of our tough games. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. I think we're going to keep it this time, though, because we get a redraw with the egg as well as the raider as long as we get one of any land. And they're going first, so not too bad. Okay, alright. We'll take it. We'll take the curve. Redraw? We probably Shine Chaser first. Maybe. We also want to hit the Archon on the curve. Okay. Yeah, if we don't pull a mana, then we'll Tome Raider. It's more important to try and curve out properly. Ah, gross. Alright. Actually, no. Now we kind of want a 2-2. Still doesn't do much, but it can be a 3-3. Yeah, that's annoying. It still doesn't help us, so let's go and draw a card. The only thing that's really going to help us is getting these cards out of our hand. And the Archon can at least attack in. Sure. Okay. Oh man, all sorts of knights coming. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. Alright, well, don't like this race. I don't like it. Archon it is. If we pull a mana, we'll have some blockers for the Oathsworn. And he's pretty low on cards. So even though that Trebuchet is holding us down, don't hate our position. It's also doing a lot of damage too. Trebuchet is not a joke. Alright, here it comes. Let's give up the Tome Raider. The only consideration is if we run away together, I feel like the Guide Mother might help more in finishing out this game. Okay. It's going to be tricky. Alright. So, put down the monitor, and then use the Tactician. And that'll work. And we will tap down probably the Trebuchet and the Paladin. Forgot I get to untap too. Yay! Untap. Yep. And we're fighting the good fight on this tempo. They were pretty even so far. Okay. Okay. And I assume we go to attacks. Yeah. So we'll tap you, tap you. This will let us whittle down the knight. Oathsworn's great. It just limits your decision making though, because it always has to attack, you know. The Black Knight always wins. Yep, that's swinging in, that's getting smaller. Can't swing in with that because I got protection from white. Oh, or you can, whatever you want to do. Sure. Wait. How come that didn't attack? Attacks each combat of Fable. What? Why didn't that attack? Is that a bug? Did we find a bug? I'm so confused. It should have attacked. I mean, it literally says it right on there. It has to attack each combat of Fable. It's part of the joke. It's crazy. Well, that's a bug, so we'll have to tell WotC about that one. Alright, so we are dying for mana here. No good choices. I guess we have to get rid of that Oathsworn. Or give the Guide Mother to it. So if we give the Guide Mother to it, Corridor Monitor takes care of it after that. We have to take 3 from the Paladin. That's about it. I guess that's not so bad. And no, I think I just did the opposite of what I said. That's fine. Those 2 can gang block there. I think I'm good with that. Or rather, I'm okay with it. I don't know if I'm good with it. We can get some mana flowing. These prize griffins are going to do some work for us. 3/4 flyer is very hard to take care of. Sure. Hopefully we don't get blown out. Okay, doesn't feel like they have a trick. We'll trade a Guide Mother for a Lochthwain Paladin. Oh, okay. Okay. Opponent really wants to attack, but doesn't want to lose their Lochthwain? Alright. It's interesting. That does not untap the Trebuchet, and it's our turn. Sweet baby Jesus, no mana. Okay. Alright, at least we get to do this. Yeah, opponent realizes they goofed up a little bit. Might have given us enough opening. So now we have 3, 6, 7. Can't believe we're operating on 4 mana after flooding out so many of the other games. Alright, so I think we still trade the Paladin, take 3 damage. Okay. I think opponent's having trouble with the combat math. Oh man, they don't attack again. Interesting. Ah, yes. That is much nastier. That is much nastier. I think possibly we've done enough, though. I mean, even if we draw 5th mana now, I think maybe we want to play this Tactician and eat the egg. Yeah, because they got a pretty big board now. Okay, so Tiny doesn't do much, but it might help us battle math-wise. It's going to take the full 6. If it takes the full 6, then... okay. Well, then we have multiple ways to get lethal next turn. Tactician and a Ginger Brute. Either of our 3/3 flyers. Can only block 1. Okay. Wow, we've operated off of 4 mana, the top 17 cards. This deck, mathematically, it should not be this inconsistent, but I mean, we're holding our own. Blue-white flyers hanging on for dear life here. I keep forgetting, too, he has to pay half of a ghostly prison if he wants to attack as well. That's why he was able to hold back the Oathsworn Knight. That's crazy. Okay. That's fine. So he's trying to set up the kill. Oh, wow. And just gives up. Seems like we keep running into a lot of people who don't even try to finish out, even if it seems very unlikely. I mean, yeah, if you didn't have a way to deal with those flyers that turn, then sure, but I mean, you should have blocked last turn then. But I've been pretty surprised that we've gotten all the way to 7th game anyway, or 8th game, 9th game, whatever, the last game. And we haven't cast Dance of the Manse once, not even for less than 6. So I don't even know. Sure? Yeah, I guess we keep. Kind of goes to show how important flying is too, to be honest. Alright, that's all the mana that we need for the next 4 or 5 turns. There's no way we don't get something here. Ooh, okay. Okay. Snake guy, doing snake things. Alright, snake guy. Inquisitive puppet, I still haven't figured out where this is supposed to go, if anywhere. Constructed or limited. It is a weird, weird creature. Okay. It's like another mono red. Interesting. Well, we're flooding out to begin with, so that's always fun. But if opponent doesn't do anything else, then we're going to have, wow, both of our eggs down just in time to draw the fairy. Anyway, if we set up for a late game Manse, it'd be a good way to finish off this deck. It's finally doing what it was supposed to do in the first place. Okay. So I assume he slippers up the dwarf there. Cool, cool, cool. 2 damage ain't nothing. No, I don't think I'm going to outflank for 0. Alright. I think Fairy makes a good target, and then we might as well use the other side Ardenvale. Or I guess if we really want to, we can run away together the token in the Fairy. It's an option. Especially if he goes for like a joust. Okay. Right. That makes sense. Alright, let's just go ahead and do this. Possibly we run away next time. I mean, you could still put it on the puppet. We should have waited, I guess, till he went to attacks. Oh, didn't want to put it on the puppet. Okay. Right. Let's get shiny. Now we have a decent outflank. Or run away together, whichever one we want. Sure. Ooh, maybe he'll put the slipper back on the token. It looks like he's going for something else. Maybe a joust? Oh, I see. Tavin, you might even have some... Is Fling in this? I think Fling is in this, maybe. He's still going to be able to replay everything, which will cost him mana, but I think we just get rid of the token. It's better than taking 2 damage and possibly getting flung at. Okay, cool. Cool. Alright. So this doesn't do much for us. It does tax their mana, but pretty sure they're going to have enough mana to spare. So really, 3, 6. It's 3 and 6. I think we go 3, 4. Does 2, 3 help? Not really. It does make our outflank take out Sir if they want to attack with that. But I can't imagine why they would. If we don't use outflank, we'll eat an egg. It's been some slow whittling down here. This is where outflank's really scary, is clearly they have something going on, and if it's instant speed removal, then we probably want to outflank the dwarves. Oh, cool. Alright. Can't do anything about that. And a joust. Okay, sweet. Can't do anything about any of this, so we're going to eat a food token and probably lose this game. Yep, that is 8 damage. Cool. And I'll have a 2-1, and that thing, okay. Alright, well, that's helpful. I guess. we have an outflank and a So Tiny. And opponent has one unknown card. And So Tiny is not activated. Or not fully activated. Okay. Still have a very narrow window. Not a great one. It's a lot of creatures. Okay. Really? Okay. It's not nothing. It's an odd way to do that, though. Do we want to use our mana? I kind of feel like a Battle Trick's going to behoove us. So we won't for the moment. It's not great, but it gives us an attack. Alright. We are at the mercy of top decks. Opponent's got a definite advantage. Sure. Yeah, we're dead in a certain amount of turns if he keeps doing that anyway. Not to mention the just general card advantage. Okay. Let's tap down to non-human, right? Yep. Cool. I think that's game any way you cut it. Alright, well you reach critical mass there. Oh, he only attacked with one? Nice. I mean, okay. You say so. We're still in it. Okay. Another dinky flyer. So what do we block with? He moves that. We're going to have a bunch of big-ass creatures. That's a block. Possibly a ping. Guess those two can block one. If one dies, we only need partial damage on the other. It's pretty rough. I'm going to dance with the Manse. Of the Manse, and they would be able to bring back these three. Be pretty tough to pull out. Oh god damn it! Nice top deck. You can only attack with two creatures though. Archon of Absolution is doing some work. Alright, so that's a chumper. So 1, 2, 3. So what can you kill? 3. Really can't kill too much, honestly. See what he does. Okay. Right, not too bad. Puts him on a 2-turn clock if we can survive. Okay, it's like loots away a land. It's down to 16 cards. It's not nothing. Is this thing trample? Yeah, I think trample. Take 4. Nice. And if we survive this turn, then we might have janked out our last win. But honestly, never feeling like this deck was that powerful or ever playing Dance of the Manse. Alright, opponent's digging. If they can't do 7 damage through 3 blockers, then we got them. Okay, goes for it. Goes for everything. So let's eat that, and eat that. Alright, wow, we got there. Blue-white Jank Flyers is probably not supposed to win most of those games. But it's nice that we dug up a new archetype, or maybe not, I mean, not new in general, but new to us. We had not tried to put together a white-blue artifact, flying, etc. Deck before. And even though it never felt great, we were able to get all 7 wins in together. So that does it. I'm definitely going to put another rank draft maybe before next weekend, just because it's so hot right now and it's so much fun to play. There's definitely a lot of different archetypes to dig into just to try and load us up at the beginning of this season. But even if we don't, thank you so much for watching. If you hit the like button, subscribe if you hadn't, and even if you really want to leave a little comment about how good or awful I'm doing everything, it'd be very much appreciated. This has been Aaron with Channel Top Gaming, and I'll see you in the next one.